Bitter criticism. We're trying to read something from Al Jazeera since it's been a long time since I don't read something from Al Jazeera. Al Jazeera breaking news. As usual, they are talking about Israel, and I don't care much because I was living in Brazil. Any slum in Brazil, any city, any medium-sized city in Brazil has more dead people than Gaza. Imagine the large ones, I guess. But yeah, I don't care. I just, I guess the only way the Palestinian question will be solved is by ending capitalism itself, ending the SWIFT system. I guess Israel get money for the war from the SWIFT system. I guess there's a lot of Zionist Jews in the SWIFT system. Let's say I have this account on YouTube, so YouTube makes money with me. So this money, they take this money, my money, and they pay Israel army weapons. Understand? That's my thought. What a nice article. I'm going to read this one. Look. And it says like this. Yeah, no peace against Democrats. No peace. Economy, US election 2024. Before age concerns forced exit, Biden was weakened by angst over economy. Understand? He was not innocent. It was not everything okay. Everything was terrible. And now I'm gonna read now. Inflation dragged down US president's approval rates long before poor debate performance focused attention on fitness. US President Joe Biden speaks in the diplomatic reception room of the White House on February 8th. This article is by Erin Hale, July 22. Even before pressure mounted on United States President Joe Biden to withdraw from November's election due to concerns about his age and fitness, he was losing the support of Americans over his handling of the economy. Despite presiding over solid economic growth and low unemployment, Biden, who bowed out of the race on Sunday, after weeks of turmoil around his candidacy, struggled to convince voters that they were better off on his watch. In May, weeks before a disastrous debate performance against Donald Trump cemented perceptions of Biden's decline, just 23% of Americans surveyed by the Pew Research Center viewed the economy as excellent or good. Much bigger shares of Americans, 41% and 36% respectively, rated the economy as only fair or poor. Only fair. Much of the dissatisfaction came from Biden's own voter base, with the proportion of Democrats and Democratic-leaning voters who viewed the economy positively, falling from 44% in January to 37% in May. A photograph from the former U.S. President Donald Trump speaks at the campaign event. Worse for Biden, U.S. voters consistently viewed his Republican rival Donald Trump as more trustworthy on the economy, a perception that persisted after the June 27 debate. In the Pew poll released early this month, 34% of respondents said they were very confident Trump will make good decisions about the economic policy, compared to 17% who said the same about Biden. Just 17%. Biden's overall approval rating closely tracked his dismal ranking on the economy. For almost all of this year, Biden hovered below 40% approval and trailed Trump as the preferred pick for the 47th U.S. president, according to an average of polls compiled by the 538 website. While Biden could point to a strong economic record by many measures, including the fastest growth of any major advanced economy and the creation of 15.7 million jobs, his administration also got saddled with the blame for the highest inflation since the early 1980s. I was listening a podcast. They are claiming about food prices. Inflation topped the list of concerns for Americans in 2022 and 2023, according to Pew, and as recently as May, nearly 62% of respondents said it was still a very big problem. While inflation has declined sharply from its peak of 9.1% in June 2022, it is still hovering at about 3% above the U.S. Federal Reserve's 2% target. And while the pace of price growth has slowed, consumers are still paying much more today than they were just a few years ago. Since Biden took office in 2021, prices have risen by more than 19%. A lot. I have a photograph from a grocery store. This helps explain why 65% of adults surveyed by the Federal Reserve last year said changes in prices had negatively impacted their financial situation, even as 72% said they were doing at least okay financially. At a similar point in Trump's presidency, prices had only risen about 5%, a major factor but why more Americans recall falling better off under his presidency. In a CBS News poll released in February, 65% of respondents said the economy was good under Trump, compared to 38% who said the same about conditions under Biden. While COVID-19 related supply chain disruptions that drove much of the inflation spike were largely out of Biden's control, most Americans blame inflation on government's policies, according to a study published by the National Bureau of Economic Research in May. The public also views higher inflation as an unambiguously negative phenomenon, even when it can signal greater economic growth, while there is a widespread belief that managing inflation can be achieved without significant trade-offs, such as reducing economic activity or increasing unemployment, according to the study. While wages are again growing faster than inflation after falling behind price growth during the pandemic, they have yet to catch up with where they were at the start of Biden's tenure in real terms. On Friday, Heather Long, a columnist of the Washington Post who covers the economy, summed up the difficulty Biden faced trying to sell a positive economic message. Overall, Biden deserves more credit for this strong economic rebound, but he and his team failed to really acknowledge the pain of higher prices or show they were doing much about in the 2022 and 2023, Long said in a post on Twitter. This is a key economic lesson going forward. Americans really hate inflation. Yeah, so I saw an interview from Kamala Harris, and she has zero capabilities. It's so cynical, hypocritical. She's so hypocritical. She has no talent as a speaker. I guess that's why Trump will win.